Members affiliated to the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa have gathered in Pretoria, preparing to march to the union buildings, calling for the Government of National Unity to intervene urgently on the closure of smelters in South Africa. Liabo Setho is covering the march in Pretoria and has more for us.
Thank you very much. The National Union of Metal Workers has its members gathered here in Pretoria, and they're marching to the union buildings, marching against job losses, some that have already taken place and others that are quite imminent at smelters who have been impacted by one of their biggest production costs, which is electricity. Some of those companies include your Samanco, your Glencoe, Ferrochrome as well. But I have here the spokesperson of the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, to tell us about their thoughts behind this march and whose attention they're hoping this march will take. Paramila, thank you so much for your time. Job losses are always a problem in the country, especially at a time where unemployment hovers above 30%. What are your main demands, especially to the smelters? We know that one of their biggest production costs is electricity, and it's not only companies that are suffering, but also consumers as well. What's the thought process behind this march?
Good day, and thank you so much, Liabo, for your time. Thank you to the SABC for coming to what we believe is a very, very important campaign, which NUMSA has been driving for a couple of months now. We really are in a very critical state as our country. The economy is not growing fast enough. We've got extremely high levels of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And what makes the situation worse is that we've got an extremely high electricity tariff. It is so high that companies in the smelter sector have approached government to say that it's taking up about 60% of their production costs. Now, as Labour, we are feeling this in the realest sense because we are experiencing job losses in companies like Glencoe, Samanco, and Alma Investments. All of them are smelters. As of December 31, 2025, Glencoe will have retrenched 2,000 workers. Samanco is predicting that there will be 5,000 job losses if they go ahead with their retrenchment plans. And Alma Investments has already retrenched over 500 jobs. So we cannot afford to lose jobs. Our principal demand as NUMSA is that we support the call by industry for an affordable electricity tariff for high energy users. We're calling for a 62 cents per kilowatt hour tariff. And the reason we're doing that is because it just makes sense. The primary supplier of energy in South Africa is Eskom. Eskom is state-owned. We have an economy that's not growing. If we want to boost manufacturing, if you want to stimulate job creation, then make sure that industry and households have a cheap electricity tariff that will boost the economy.
Yeah. I remember that I think a couple of months ago, NUMSA, you did write to the Minister of Electricity, Dr. asking him to intervene. What came of that? Did he ever come back to you? And what was the response thereof?
Yes, we did write to the minister, and we've been engaging. In fact, the interaction that industry has had with government has been primarily because NUMSA has been coordinating behind the scenes to try and find viable solutions to this problem. Because this problem was presented to us through Section 189 processes. Our engagements with the minister, will say, are positive because they have met with us, they have engaged us, they've agreed to reduce the tariff to 87 cents. We think they can go further because the industry wants 62 cents per kilowatt hour. They're saying that if they give into the demands of industry, they're not sure where that shortfall of 18 billion rand will come from, and they need more time to figure out a solution. But the challenge here is that we don't have time. This process has been dragging for months now, and government has not taken a decisive decision. And unfortunately, the longer that they take, jobs are now being lost in the sector.
You are specific in the fact that you say you want the Government of National Unity to do something about this, as you just previously alluded. How much confidence do you have in this government that they can really try to further down this tariff that they're currently imposing on you?
We think that this government, if it really cares about job creation, if it really cares about solving the unemployment crisis, they'll take what we're saying seriously. When it's not just Labour that's speaking here, industry is saying what we're saying. And by the way, as you know, Liabo, it's not just the smelters. ArcelorMittal South Africa is shutting down plants. Energy cost is one of the reasons that it has cited for this. We have had countless Section 189 notices from other companies in other sectors that are energy intensive that have complained about the high energy costs. So I think, if various stakeholders are complaining about the same thing, then the government of national unity that claims that it's here to strengthen the economy, that it's here to turn our economy around, will take us all seriously and make the necessary changes to make this work.
I know you need to get back to your members, but I know that at Samanco, the operations have halted altogether, I think, since March. And although your members, some of them are still being paid, but there's also a psychological effect to all of this. What are they reporting to you?
Members are deeply distressed, very frustrated, also angry, because that anger and distress comes from a sense of hopelessness. And, when you know that when you lose this job, in all likelihood, you're not going to be able to replace it, that causes a lot of panic, especially for households, for people who are depending on these breadwinners. So we are, as a union, doing absolutely everything we can to try and resolve this. That's why we're working hand in hand with the industry to pressurize our government to understand how serious this situation is, that it is urgent. And in fact, the memorandum of demands that we're going to be handing over is not just talking to the issue of the reduction in energy costs. It's also talking about protecting chrome as a critical mineral by ensuring that we reduce exports of chrome. China has built an entire industry around South African chrome. They don't even have chrome, and we have chrome. And so we're saying that why should China benefit from a mineral that we have in abundance? They are able to create jobs. They are able to provide for their people. They've lifted the highest number of people in the world out of poverty because of the intervention of government in business. So we're calling on the government of national unity to intervene in the economy and ensure that we save jobs, that we stimulate the economy so that we can tackle unemployment, inequality and poverty.
Pagamile, thank you so much. I know you need to rush. I've been speaking to the spokesperson of the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa. As you can see, they gathered behind me. I understand that they're waiting for branch members from Mpumalanga to come so that they're able to make their way to the union buildings where they'll be delivering a memorandum of demands to the government of national unity. And at the heart of this protest or march is the protection of jobs, as Pagamile has already said, that as it is, about 7,500 jobs are at stake, either already lost or on the verge of being lost. At Samanco, as it is, we understand that there are 5,000 workers that are already at risk, and although they've already been being paid monthly, but there is an issue with the fact that there's a Section 189 that's looming, and that threatens, of course, as she says, if you lose a job now in this kind of economy that is hardly creating jobs, what are the chances of one ever creating a job? We are going to be following these marches all the way to the union buildings and be showing you when they're handing over that memorandum of demand to the union buildings.